Welcome back to another episode of CHP Sports. I am Anthony. To my left is the returning Kenny Barber. Kenny, how you doing?
Good. Good to be back.
Yeah, you got a nice week off. I was joined by a much prettier co-host.
I saw that.
Good.
I watched it. I enjoyed it. It's funny.
It was good. So we are in the midst of October, kind of like almost two-thirds, almost exactly through the way through
October,
February. February. I'm saying the wrong month here. Just let me go with whatever month I choose. 3/4 of the way through February. I don't know why I'm saying October. And we're kind of in that lull. The NFL season's over. We just had the NBA All-Star Game, but there are some happenings in indoor track and field. So let's start with actually, since I mentioned it first, the NBA All-Star Game. Did you watch? Is there anything of value in the NBA All-Star Weekend? What are your thoughts?
Just, I peeked in a couple of times during the game, but I saw just more of the highlights. It appeared the dunk contest was atrocious as usual, so I didn't watch that at all. I actually picked the guy that was going to win. It says Obi Toppin is his name. He's a crazy athletic dude for the Knicks and jumps out of the building. So I was like, he's going to win, and he did. But I feel like without the big names in that, it's just unwatchable. Like, you know what I mean? It'll never be like Jordan versus Dominique again, or like Vince Carter. Like, none of the stars do it anymore. So it's weird to me. But and then Karl Anthony Towns won the 3-point contest. He's a center. So that was interesting. Great shooter, though, apparently. And then Steph Curry got the MVP. He hit 15 3-pointers during the game. And people are like, oh, he's not playing. Nobody's playing defense. So I'm like, he was literally pulling up from like half court and shooting and turning around and running back the other way, and the ball would go in. Like, what he was doing was insane. Like, the whole place was going crazy. He did it multiple times. He would just shoot the ball and turn around and run the other way, and the ball would just go in the net. I just don't know how you're that good at something where you just know the ball. I mean, it's not like he's laying it up, right? He's shooting it from way beyond the 3-point line. So that was pretty crazy. But other than that, I mean, it is what it is. They play in the last like 10 minutes, and then the rest of the game is just a show. Any thoughts on
that? Yeah, so I didn't watch much of anything. I watched a couple of highlights. I thought I happened to catch the skills competition at the start of Saturday night. I only got into it because we turned it on, and the Cavs had a team, so it was the Cavs against Giannis's team versus
they won, right? The Cavs team.
Yeah, Cavs team won, and it's obviously being from Cleveland originally, it was exciting to see that. They've got a really nice young core.
Yeah,
probably the biggest surprise of the year in the NBA.
Yeah,
how well they're playing.
They've done well.
Yeah, so that was really cool. Because in Columbus they don't really show the Cavs, or at least it's not easy to find them because we have the Blue Jackets with the hockey team. They tend to show that over the Cleveland basketball team, which is unfortunate because I wouldn't say I watch the Cavs a lot, but I would throw them on occasionally. So just I don't get a chance to see their who's playing for us or how they're looking, but they look Garland looks like a stud, and obviously they got the Evan Mobley looks like a stud. He probably would be in the running for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I didn't watch any of the 3-point contest. The dunk contest, I watched a couple of the winners' dunks, and I thought they were really good.
Yeah. I'm not saying they're not good dunks. I'm just saying, like, it. I guess because they're just people no one knows, right? And it's just kind of like, oh, that guy won. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's one of those things where you need two good guys in there. Right. I don't think they need to be the biggest names, but you need a back and forth. Yeah. Like when we had, who were the guys a couple of years ago?
The guy from the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, Orlando Magic and the other dude.
Was Levine in
completely.
No.
Yeah, Zach
Levine.
Zach Levine against whoever.
I can't remember the guy's name. Every year I thought he should have won, though, and he didn't win.
Yeah, well, both of them were so amazing. They were doing things that were just.
Yeah.
Like they're probably like two of like 4 people in the world that could do the dunks they were doing. So, when you see that height, I think they kind of pushed the dunk contest as far as it really could go.
Yeah.
at a certain point, you just come up against the limits of human physiology, right? There's only so much you can really do in the air
Well,
for 2 seconds.
that's such a good point because I think that is where they're at right now, and that's why
Oh
I
yeah,
think like you need the star power to carry that, right? Because
yeah,
without those big names, like the big names can do that. There's a few of them that can do that stuff too, but they just won't do it for whatever reason. But yeah, I agree. Like there's been some really freaky dunkers in the last 10 years, but then the contest started having all these weird rules, and it was like they were like some of the guys are taking 27 attempts to do one dunk, and it just got really bad, and which stinks because
yeah. It's one of those things to me that can go off the rails really quickly if
yeah,
someone starts missing.
yeah,
Right, you miss one dunk, okay. If you hit the next one, fine. Like it's usually fine, especially if it's a really crazy dunk. Like everyone's like, "Ooh, is
yeah.
he
I'm
gonna
like
hit that?" And if you hit it the next time, it's crazy.
you
But
should
if you
get
just
like
like
two
keep going
attempts,
for it,
like that's it.
yeah,
Yeah, like and next, there's your score, right? Um, so I think that was the issue too. But yeah, when Levine and that other, why can't I think of that guy's name? He was really good.
he
Um,
was phenomenal.
they did some great dunks. Like that was when I started to kind of watch it again. And I think last year I tried to watch it and it was just really bad again.
Aaron Gordon.
That's it, Gordon. Yeah, that guy was great. Um, so yeah, I just think due to like you're saying the limits of human physiology, there's only so much you can do. There's only so high there's some people that come up with creative stuff, which is cool to see. But even that, like, it's almost like it's all been done at this point, right? How many other ways can you dunk a basketball? And that's why it was so exciting in the 80s and 90s because people were still coming up with new stuff. And it was like Jordan versus Dominique or Vince Carter versus the rest of the league, or, and that guy was doing some crazy stuff too. Um, I remember like D Brown when he did covered his eyes and he dunked right, and like Spud Webb was 4'11" and doing dunks like crazy stuff, right? You're just not. I guess now it's like, oh, that was pretty good, or yeah, I remember when Vince Carter did that, or yeah, I mean it's a lot of that. But those guys, I feel like Levine and Gordon pushed the limits. I think they came up with some really cool new stuff for sure. So yeah, I don't know. When you think about it, it's not so bad. But when you watch it, sometimes it's like, like you said, when you have those multiple attempts, it loses the luster after the 15th attempt.
Yeah, no, agreed. And then the game, I'll be honest, the game just, it's so, to me, it's almost worse than the NFL Pro Bowl. Like it's bordering on
It's
that
close.
sort of
Yeah.
like where it's like such a farce. Like to me, the Pro Bowl, at least, I mean, when I was watching, because I actually watched some of the Pro Bowl this year, it at least resembles football in the sense that they just give up when the play would probably pretty much end if they were going full go.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like just no effort at all until, like you said, the last couple minutes.
Yeah. And
so it's just.
It ended up being I guess it was LeBron scored the last points or whatever.
Yeah, LeBron hit a jumper to win it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, in Cleveland, made sense. And Curry
just,
from Cleveland too, right? So he won MVP and LeBron hit the game winner.
Curry's not from Cleveland, but he got booed because of what all the times we played them in the finals when LeBron was with us. So
he's from Ohio then.
Yeah, I don't think he's from. Yeah, I don't think he's from Cleveland.
Let me look because he said something about coming home to.
Oh, he's from Akron. Oh, I did
Akron,
not know
that's right.
From Akron.
That's what it was.
Had no idea.
He's from the same place as LeBron. That's right. That's what they said. I was like, huh.
I had no idea. That's crazy.
Yeah, me neither. So yeah, it's whatever. And the Olympics ended. I didn't get to talk about that much last week.
I couldn't get into them. I tried.
The figure skating thing was absolutely insane. The female figure skating. Yeah. That poor girl.
I mean, so these are my thoughts on the Olympics in general. Right? It's extremely, to call the Olympics in China being problematic is an understatement.
Yeah.
Right? They've got that poor tennis lady like quietly retiring during the Olympics so they can sweep her under the rug.
Yeah.
Like who knows, like she can't speak out because who knows what they've threatened her family with.
Is that the one that disappeared? Did they find her?
Yeah.
Did they found her?
Yeah, she's been found and she's done interviews with like the like tennis federation stuff.
Yeah.
But everyone pretty much believes she can't do anything or say anything or defect because they'll disappear her family, basically.
Correct.
So,
Totally.
there's that. You've got the entire thing with the Uyghurs. I don't know how to say that particular ethnic groups, but the sort of genocide that's happening there.
Yeah.
And there's human rights violations across the board. Then you have the skating controversy on top of it all, right? Where you've got, should any athlete be doping? No. Should we really be holding a 15-year-old that's in a state-sponsored program that we know has had issues with doping for Czechs watch forever?
Forever, yeah.
Am I really blaming her for this? No.
Yeah, are we holding a 15-year-old accountable for that? I'm not. And then of course she's going to have she had a meltdown. Of course she is. She's 15.
Yeah, I would have a meltdown.
I didn't know what I was doing at all when I was 15. Like, I didn't know anything. I can't imagine being in that situation. And
so I feel bad for her. I feel bad for the other skaters. I do not feel bad for Russia.
No, I just still don't understand why they're allowed in the Olympics as the ROC. I don't understand it. Yeah. You got kicked out, and now you're allowed. You're back in under a different name.
But yeah, and that's punishment. That's your punishment. Just use a different name.
Very weird to me. I really felt bad for that girl. Like it was sad.
It's terrible. Yeah, because then her like coach gives her a cold shoulder after she falls.
Yeah,
and she's like a mess. Like, come on, dude.
Like no one even consoled her for a
a
while afterward. Like it just so weird. And it was what a mess. But
so I couldn't get into it. Like nothing. I watched a few events, but
it's like everyone was mad when they were going to drop weightlifting, but there's a reason. Everyone's doing steroids, and no one will stop doing steroids.
It's like the dirtiest sport.
Yeah, stop doing steroids. Stop cheating, right? And they won't test like they do in America, right? And everybody's like, why does America suck at weightlifting? Well, because they have really tough
test.
Yeah. And a lot of our athletes are playing other sports, right? Our best athletes, right? They're not weightlifting. Yeah. I think that's another reason, right? It's kind of twofold, but yeah, we can't use drugs. We're tested a lot. That's why we're not as now. Don't get me wrong. These programs in China and Russia. These kids start when they're 6 years old and they're weightlifting.
Oh yeah, they're beasts, and they would be beasts no matter what. But they're more beastly.
Drugs or no drugs. These guys are amazing lifters, right? Let's not get that twisted. But it gives them even more of an advantage when they've been doing it their whole entire life, and they're on drugs, and they're recovering faster and getting bigger and stronger. And it's crazy. But
can you imagine being a Russian athlete? Here, take these pills.
Yeah.
What about test?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. Test. We'll test you later. Don't worry about the test.
And that
we'll test you later.
You saw that documentary, right? That was insane.
Icarus, yeah.
That was the most insane thing I've ever watched in my life.
We'll just send a guy through the ventilation system. It'll be okay.
Yeah, they just completely take all their urine samples out and put new ones in. They got a guy. They had a guy.
You got a guy.
It's crazy.
I know a guy that knows a guy.
Yeah, I was just this is the most fascinating. So they've been cheating for 100 years. It's crazy. So yeah, Olympics is so frustrating because you want it to be amazing, and then it's just that kind of stuff happens. I don't know. It's disappointing. I did like the snowboarding. We did chat a little bit about that.
Yeah, snowboarding was crazy.
The
judging was terrible, but the right guy ended up winning. So
yeah, the right guy definitely won. And Shaun White retired, which is cool. A legend for sure of the sport. So yeah, that was the Olympics. But I think your feats that you sent me were insane. Yeah.
So the couple, obviously indoor track, obviously not a sport for them. Most people follow, but I know our audience is always interested when we talk track and field. So a couple of things that I saw recently, the last 2 weeks, that happened in the indoor track world. So Jacob I'm going to butcher his name. Jacob Ingebrigtsen.
Ingebrigtsen?
Yeah, something like that. Apologies to Jacob if you're randomly watching this, because you're an animal. So he set the indoor world record in the 1,500 meters. So on a 200-meter track, he ran the 1,500 in 3:30.6. 3:30. It's basically just sprinting for me the entire way.
Let's go over that. Now, how long's a mile?
Mile is technically 1,610 meters, roughly.
And this was
so it's just short of a mile.
This was 110 meters shorter than a mile. And he ran it in how long again?
3:30.6.
I mean, is he running a sub 4 minute mile?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
How many people have done that?
Yeah. I mean, there's a decent amount. But that's flying. I mean, that's probably like, for an actual 16:10, that's probably
350.
I'm actually going to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, that's so insane to me. I'd be thankfully cruising across the 800 meter mark at that time. like, yeah, I'm going to hit an 8 minute mile.
It's going to be, it's like 3:45, 3:46.
Yeah, that's insane. That's so insane.
That's flying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he did that. Now, something I wanted to mention. So if you watch that race, they have this light rig. This is new technology. It's called like a light wave technology. So the guys are running around the track. I'm describing it to our audience here. And on the inside of the track, there's a ring, like an LED ring that has lights on it. And so it's basically lighting up with the world record. So you can basically know the pace for the world record.
He's like chasing it basically.
Yeah, or slightly ahead of it for most of it. What are your thoughts on this? Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Should athletes have to know their own pace? Or is this just we're using the tools at our disposal that we have now in 2022?
So the athletes can see it as well?
Because it's like right next to them. So if it's like ahead of you, you're going to see it.
All right. I don't mind it. I don't think it's any different than if you're on a row machine and there's a pace boat, right? And you're you can set the rower up like that. I could see where like you could say, hey, well, they should know their pace and that kind of stuff, right? But you can see the clock, right? At that point,
you can see the clock. Does it make the record? Does it make the records? Do we put an asterisk like at a certain point in the timeline saying, hey, this is the advent of this technology? Where before this, like if you're running, let's imagine this, right? You're the guy that first you're Roger Bannister, right? You're the first guy that breaks the 4 minute mile, right? You're alone, right? In terms of speed, right? No one else is as fast as you.
Ever, yeah.
Right? So you never have someone to really chase or push you necessarily. Like you have to push yourself, right? Like what?
Well, I was going to say too, sometimes
fair to that.
Yeah. Sometimes the runners are the push, right? But not in his case, because he was the fastest one, right?
Yeah. It's one thing, I think, if you have contemporaries in your time that are similarly fast and you can sort of go back and forth and push each other to, higher feats of athletic achievement. But if you're like if you're Usain Bolt, now obviously in the 100 meters, this isn't going to work. It doesn't matter because you're not paying attention. You're looking straight.
Yeah, you're straight.
It doesn't, full speed is full speed, right? You can't change that. But imagine you're running a 400, right? And there is some strategy of how you go out in a 400 and where you're allocating energy in a 400. So, are you going out at a different pace? Are you, what are you? If you can see that light and you're close, do you push yourself that little extra bit? If you're winning the race by 10 meters, which happens all the time in the 400.
Yeah. No, that's a good question. I'm not opposed to it. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. But I can see your side of it. Like I could see where it's like might give you a little more advantage because you know the exact world record pace, right? But then I think too, like just in the time where I got into running a bit, I knew my pace. Like I knew where I was at and I didn't have to look, right? So I got to imagine that these guys are pretty honed in on where they're at. Probably on a race like that, I mean, he's got to know within 5 seconds where he's at.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. No, these guys know. But I just like, if it's a world record, right, you're going to be at that ragged edge, right?
Yeah.
Just by definition.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me. Like I'm kind of in your boat. I don't necessarily oppose it, but I do stop and pause at least and go, is this,
Yeah.
is this fair? I think it is, right? If the goal is to get the best athletic achievement, right? We made tracks faster. We've made shoes faster within some limits, right? I know they put
Look at the golf clubs now. They're like this big for the driver. It's the size of a car at this point. Or even like, I mean, does that equate to like numbers on a football field? Right? Do you know how we didn't used to have yard markers like written, right? They used to just be like lines. Does that help? Does that, like, if you're running a route or throwing a pass, or I don't know. I don't know if that helps in football. I don't know if that's the same. But it's a good topic. I like that. I think it's a cool technology too.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I think it makes the spectator experience a lot better because you can sort of, it's useful to sort of see like, okay, this person's winning this race or this heat. What would the world record look like? Oh, it's like way ahead of them. They're not even, they're obviously very fast, but they're nowhere near world record pace.
I've seen them do it in other sports. Like I saw it in skating. I've seen it in water rowing. They'll put the world record line, but they can't see that, right?
Yeah, they can't see that. So they can actually see.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And also with
object.
Figure skating, they had like real time scoring, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that. I think that's good, but again, I think there's a big difference between like only the spectators can see
it. Yeah. I'm just saying, as a spectator, this is definitely making the sports more interesting.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, on the runner side, it's almost like remember the old Greyhound thing with they chase the rabbit around, right?
Exactly.
It's very similar. And yeah, pace, if you know that pace and that's the record, yeah, if you got a shot, you're going to go for it, right? So I don't know. I don't disagree with it, but I could see where it could. Yeah, maybe there's an asterisk, right? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's much of an asterisk if there is one, but I think there is a like.
Maybe just note.
Oh, we did introduce this. Yeah. No, let's note this.
Yeah, let's note that this is when this happened. No, I understand what you're saying for sure.
And then the other. There was a couple other records, but the other one I sent to you was Grant Fisher broke the American 5K record indoors, but he almost actually also broke the American 5K total record, which is crazy. He ran at 12:53 5K. I think it was 12:53.68. I believe the American just 5K record outdoor indoors is 12:53.6. I want to say.
What is that?
So he was like less than a tenth of a second off.
What is that mile of time? Like, what's the pace on that?
It's like a 4.
It's low 4s.
Yeah, it's low 4s.
Yeah, it's just
like probably like a 4:10.
I can't just comprehend that at times. Like, again, I remember when I was into running for a bit and running like a sub 7 mile, I was like, man, I'm flying like 650s and stuff like that. And it was like 1 mile that fast, right? Because I was never like a fast runner, but I thought that was pretty decent in my older 30s to run 6-minute miles for maybe 2 or 3 tops, right? But to see that like a 4:10 pace like at that, and to run a 5K for 3.1 yada yada
3.13 I think something.
It's hard to comprehend. I've watched the college 5K and it looks like they're sprinting the whole time. It's like just sprinting 3 miles. Like, it's crazy to me. I'm always so impressed by that whole genre of runner. Like, I don't understand it. Like, I physically I can't imagine running that fast for that many miles at that pace.
Yeah.
I would like.
Yeah, it's absurd.
I'd struggle to do that on my bike. Like, I just had like a 4-minute mile on my, my hybrid trail bike, whatever you want to call it. Like, that's wild. It's definitely shows you what's out there though, as far as athletes, some freaks.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think what's, for those of you that maybe are runners or, getting newer into running, I urge you to go watch this, both these videos, both Ingers Briggston's 1500 and the Grant Fisher And there were a couple of some women set some American records as well in the 5K. It was like the 5K women's race recently set. There was an American record set and the Canadian record got set. It was a crazy race between these two women. Phenomenal race. So I urge you to go over to the Flow Track YouTube channel. They've got some great running videos. But pay attention, if you're new, pay attention to the paces. They negative split everything. Right? So there's a reason why, when you're working with a coach like Kenny or myself, we give you a negative split run, or we say, hey, don't go out too fast. This is why. This is what the pros do.
You want to keep it.
If you blow it, yeah. If you blow everything early, you won't recover. If you stay a little bit more reserved, you can often sort of pick up the pace a lot more later and make it up. So
I have a quick funny story. First, real 5K I ever ran. This is when I got into CrossFit, and a bunch of the people were like, "Hey, it was at my old high school. They did it every year. It was a 5K to raise money, scholarship thing." And I only ran in CrossFit, in a workout. I didn't go out and run afterwards. I ran a lot growing up with football and wrestling, and I was like, I don't like running. I'm not going to do it on purpose anymore after sports was over. So the race starts, right? I had never paced a race or anything like that. And the first mile I ran in 7 minutes, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm flying. And then it was 9 minutes for the second one and then 10 minutes for the third one. So I did the opposite of negative splits. I did very positive splits. I was very positively happy about that. So I thought I was going to run it in 20 minutes, and then it was 26 minutes for the first 5K ever. I thought that was decent.
No, it's really good.
Until I saw the guy that won did it in 17 minutes. I was like, oh, wow. I'm really slow. And then I did it again. I paced it way better a couple years later, and I did it in 23 minutes. So that was better. That was probably my best 5K. But, official, at a race. I'd probably run them faster and some other things. But just, but still, just to put that into perspective, and they're doing it in 12 something. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it's absurd. The fastest I ever ran a 5K was 1906. I want to say it was 1905, 1906, somewhere in there. And
which is a great time. Sub 20, I feel like it's really good.
Yeah, no, I never broke 19, which is what I wanted. But yeah, it's wild, and it was, I never the idea of going 12:53 is absurd.
It really is. I don't understand.
And it's just it's more impressive when you watch it because you see them getting faster and faster.
Yeah,
every time around the track, you're like, how is this possible?
They're running negative splits through the whole race at an insanely fast pace. It's what is happening right now?
Yeah, when your name is the human metronome, that's that is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So wild. Well, that's all we really had to talk about today, I think. Did you have anything else?
Nah. Wrestling Big Ten tournament is coming up. Best tournament of the year for wrestling. Best conference. If you can get out of there, you're almost happy to get to the national tournament so you can wrestle with somebody else not in the Big Ten. That's how good it is. So that's coming up. I don't know if it's this weekend or the following. And my son qualified for states for wrestling, so that was cool.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Congratulations to him.
Yeah. So
Big B as it is.
Yeah, Mr. Brock. So we'll see. The only issue is he's got to make weight in 3 more weeks. So I'm like, if he doesn't, no biggie. We just won't wrestle. But I'm not. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry.
He's a kid.
Yeah, he's
a kid. Just let him.
So I'm like, look, dude. If you make it, he made it for a qualifier, so that was good. But kids grow quickly and they put on weight. I'm like, you got a month, so if you don't weigh close, we're not going to worry about it. But we'll still go and watch or whatever. And so yeah, he's doing well this year. It's been fun. My goal was to have him not run and cry and go off the mat in his first. That's almost what you expect at that age. You're like, we'll just make sure you can get through a match without freaking out and running out of the gym. Right? That was my expectation. I didn't really have any expectation really, but. And he likes it, and he's been doing really well. So it's been fun to watch, and he's got his butt beat a few times, and it's good, right? It teaches him how to lose and how to act when they lose, and So it's been a fun, interesting learning experience for everybody involved, including myself. I've probably learned more than him, but I've been coaching again, so it's been interesting. I love coaching the kids. It's fun. The kids are hilarious, but yeah. So that's about all I got. But yeah, coming up, it's going to be like the doldrums again of the sports world. We'll have the NBA playoffs. I mean, but it's just the All-Star break now. Baseball doesn't look like it's going to happen. We can talk about that next week.
Maybe we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
So
that's a whole nother can of worms we could open up. The season that's too long anyway. Maybe it'll be the right length.
Yeah, right. Yeah, finally.
So,
all right. Like, subscribe. If you're interested in training for the Crucible, the shirt I'm wearing, that'll be probably this October again. Our Crucible template is on the website. The link below. You can get it. It's like $80, but man, it will get you ready. You can kind of run it indefinitely from now until the Crucible if you wanted to. And Kenny and I are two of the coaches that helped put it together, so we appreciate it. If you want to support the show, that's an easy way to support the show. Like, subscribe, like I said, and we'll catch you probably next week.
Sweet.
Peace out.